Imagine being accused of something you didn't do. How would you react? This is the story of Troy Aggett, a dedicated Australian federal police officer who found himself in this exact situation. In the world of law enforcement, reputation is everything. It's the foundation of trust between an officer and the community they serve. For Troy Aggett, his lifelong commitment to serving and protecting his country was unassailable, until a malicious attack by ISS security threatened to tarnish his hard-earned reputation. Picture this. ISS security operating at Brisbane Airport leveled a series of false accusations against Troy. They claimed he had behaved inappropriately and intimidatingly, his so-called crime, not exchanging pleasantries during routine security checks. The allegations, as baseless as they were, began to cast a shadow over Troy's impeccable service record, causing ripples of doubt among his peers and the public. But Troy was not a man to stand idly by while his reputation was maligned. He picked up his pen, a weapon as mighty as any, and began writing letters to the law team of ISS security. He demanded a retraction of their unfounded statements and a public apology to set the record straight. You'd think that faced with their own groundless accusations, ISS security would back down, but instead, they dug their heels in. Rather than admitting their mistake, they opted to escalate the situation. They filed a complaint with the Professional Standards Command, an entity responsible for upholding the integrity and professionalism of the police force. So, there it was. An unjust accusation, a man's reputation hanging in the balance, and a security company refusing to acknowledge their error. Troy found himself in a battle he didn't ask for, yet one he was determined to fight. His story serves as a stark reminder of the power dynamics at play within our systems and societies. Instead of retracting their baseless claims, ISS security escalated the situation, filing a complaint with the Professional Standards Command. For 19 months, Troy was under the microscope, scrutinized for every move and word, but he was unyielding. A man of integrity, Troy found himself in an unexpected battle, fighting not for his country this time, but for his own innocence. The investigation process was grueling. The Professional Standards Command left no stone unturned, dissecting every aspect of Troy's professional life. Each interview was a test of endurance, a barrage of insinuations and questions designed to break him down. He was under intense scrutiny, not just from the investigators, but also from his colleagues. The whispers, the side glances, the doubt in their eyes, it was a constant reminder of the false allegations hanging like a cloud over his head. But here's the thing about Troy. He was made of sterner stuff. Accusations, investigations, the pressure of proving himself, none of it could shake his resolve. He was a man on a mission, determined to clear his name, to restore his honor. Every false claim, every accusation only fueled his resolve to fight. He was not just battling for himself, but for every individual who had ever been wronged, every person who had been falsely accused. He wrote letters, demanded retractions, and sought public apologies. His words were not just pleas, but a testament of his innocence. He was not asking for favors, he was demanding justice. He stood tall, looking his accusers in the eye, refusing to let them tarnish his reputation without a fight. And his perseverance paid off. After 19 long months, the truth emerged victorious. The investigation found no evidence of any wrongdoing on Troy's part. The accusations were baseless, the claims unsubstantiated. Troy was exonerated of all charges. After months of relentless fight, Troy was exonerated of all charges, but the battle was far from over. The victory was sweet, but it was short-lived. Little did Troy know, the real test of his resilience was yet to come. The fight for innocence was won, but the war for justice was just beginning. Just when Troy thought he could finally breathe, a shocking revelation came to light. In an unexpected twist, the federal police, the very institution Troy had devoted his life to, had struck an illicit agreement with ISS security. This wasn't just a minor oversight or a procedural error. It was a betrayal of trust, a violation of the very principles that Troy and his fellow officers had pledged to uphold. The deal was unscrupulous, to say the least, and it left Troy, once again, in the crosshairs of a battle he hadn't chosen. In exchange for ISS security dropping their baseless allegations, the federal police granted them a $10,000 contract. But the treachery didn't end there. As part of the deal, Troy was charged afresh, this time for using offensive language. The so-called offensive language was nothing more than the words Australian Federal Police, a phrase that Troy, as an officer, used as part of his everyday duties. This new accusation was a slap in the face, a blow to a man who had spent the better part of 2 years fighting to clear his name. The charge was not only ridiculous, but also a stark reminder of the lengths that some would go to tarnish a reputation and evade accountability. Yet Troy was not one to be easily defeated. He was a man of integrity, a man of courage. He had faced adversity before, and he would do so again. He refused to let this new charge bring him down, to let it hinder his fight for justice. The betrayal was shocking indeed. It was a stark reminder of the insidious power dynamics at play and the lengths some would go to maintain their status quo, but it also served as a testament to Troy's resilience and determination. He had been wronged, yet he stood tall, ready to fight for what was right. But Troy, brave and resolute, refused to surrender. In the face of adversity, Troy stood tall. He fought back, and justice prevailed once again. The allegations of offensive language, a new hurdle thrown at him, didn't deter him. Instead, it fueled his resolve to fight against the blatant injustice. Troy was never one to shy away from a challenge, and this was no exception. The more ISS security and the federal police tried to suppress him, the stronger his determination grew. He was not fighting just for himself, but for the principle of justice, for the truth. His journey was not easy. He had to navigate through a labyrinth of legal complexities, endure endless scrutiny, and face the disheartening reality of the corruption within the system he had once trusted. Yet, he stood unyielding, his spirit unbroken. His efforts bore fruit when the charges of offensive language were finally dropped. The absence of any credible evidence and Troy's unwavering stand brought the truth to light. The victory was a testament to his resilience, his courage, and his belief in the power of truth. But the fight was far from over. Troy knew that this victory was not just about clearing his name. It was a beacon of hope for those who found themselves in similar situations, a signal that corruption could be challenged and justice could be attained. This victory was a powerful lesson to all who witnessed it. It showed that no matter how powerful the oppressor, no matter how unjust the accusation, one can always fight back and win. It showed that truth and justice are not mere concepts but powerful tools in the hands of the determined. Troy's victory was not just for himself, but for anyone who's ever been wronged. His triumph serves as a beacon of hope, lighting the path for those who find themselves in the dark, faced with injustice. His story is a testament that, in the end, truth prevails, integrity wins, and justice is served. Troy's story is a stark reminder of the importance of standing against injustice. A man who dedicated his life to protecting others, subjected to an unrelenting assault on his character and reputation, yet never backing down. His resilience, his courage, his unwavering dedication to justice, these are qualities that we should all aspire to embody. But it's not enough to merely admire Troy Aggett. It's not enough to shake our heads at the injustice he faced. It's not enough to feel a momentary surge of anger and then move on. We must act. We must lend our voices to his and the voices of countless others who have been wronged. How? By signing petitions that demand accountability from ISS security and the federal police. By sharing Troy's story far and wide so that it echoes in the halls of power and prompts those in charge to question their own actions and decisions. By raising awareness about this gross miscarriage of justice not just as an isolated incident but as a symptom of a larger systemic problem. Because remember, if it can happen to a dedicated officer like Troy, it can happen to anyone. And if we do not stand together against such injustices, we are all at risk. We are all potential targets. So, let's rally behind Troy Aggett. Let's honor his struggle by continuing it. Let's show those who abuse their power that we will not be silenced, that we will not be cowed, that we will not stand idly by while they trample on the rights of innocent individuals. We are at a crossroads, my friends. We can choose to turn a blind eye, or we can choose to fight. Fight for Troy, fight for justice, fight for a world where no one is falsely accused, where no one is made a scapegoat, where no one is forced to endure what Troy did. Together we can ensure that justice prevails, and no one else has to suffer like Troy did. Stand with us, stand with Troy Aggett. Troy. And as we wrap up the story of Troy Aggett, let's not forget that this is not just about one man's battle against injustice. It's about all of us. It's about our collective power to bring about change, to right wrongs, to ensure that no one else has to go through what Troy did. Let's make our voices heard. Let's make sure that Troy's story is not forgotten, that his struggle was not in vain. Like this video, share it, comment on it. Let's get this message out there. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Your support allows us to continue bringing you these important stories, to continue shining a light on the dark corners of our society, where injustice often lurks unnoticed. Remember, we're in this together. Stand with us, stand with Troy Aggett. Thank you.